What's going on, everyone? Welcome into Forward Progress. This is week 3, the final read, our second best bets show here on the Forward Progress channel. We're going to hit every single game on the board, and this year we're using the hammer system for our picks. Single hammer, small edge, double hammer, is a standard play, and then triple is a strong stance that we have. We'll put the bets on screen as we make them. We'll recap at the end of the show, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we do better than the Tuesday crew, because I hate doing worse than the Tuesday crew. Who definitely will rub it in off air quite frequently. Quick reminder, it's Thursday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. These markets are pretty efficient. Limits are up. Sharp groups have been firing all week. Injuries, weather are mostly accounted for. That's not a hedge. That's just context to give you. Our job is to try to find real edges at fair numbers, but we'll pass when there isn't an edge, and we'll avoid giving out things just to say that we did. Quick ask really quickly, as I see some familiar faces in the chat. If you do enjoy this show or it helps you in any way, please tap that like button down below. Share the show as well so others can find it. And if we lay an egg again this week, you have the green light to bury us in the comments as much as you want. The cards are loaded. Hammer's ready. Let's get into it with my co-hosts live from Germany, Fabian Sommer, Suma in the middle of your screen, and in rural Pennsylvania, as usual, Austin Mock of The Athletic. We need a bounce back week, guys. All three of us went 1-2 last week as a whole. Both myself and Suma did hit the golds with San Fran -3 in New England. Austin, you lost on your gold and your silver hammer, or let's say your triple and double. I'm still getting used to the terminology as we completely have bit this from other programs. And you got your Philly KC under as well. So got to get it back on track here. But let's start it right off and get into it. Packers and Browns is going to be our starting game here. So far since open, it's been Browns money, albeit not anything crazy as we sit right now at a flat 7.5 at FanDuel. Total in the game has also been bet down to 41.5. Last time we saw the Packers, they look like a wrecking ball, yet the market is opposing them this week, Suma. What are you seeing in this matchup with the Packers and Browns? Anything worth playing in this spot?
Yeah, we just got the news that Tucker Kraft just got injured in practice. So just from the wording of the beat reporters, it does not sound like he's going to end up playing this week, because they're talking it's probably not an extended period of time. So we'll see there. Jaden Reed already on IR. So I think the Packers are somewhat limited on offense. Also some offensive linemen banked up. But I think that in the past, they have shown us the ability to play around injuries. So scheme is very sound. I think they will still be good enough on offense, even though having a monster matchup at Cleveland. But I think the cover is probably one on the other side of the ball, where I'm just not seeing, let's say, Joe Flacco starts. There were some rumors that Gabriel might get the start. Not sure whether it makes a major difference. But I think that this Packers defense with Micah Parsons on the field, splits are insane, is very special. And I think that you really see the multiplying effect that Parsons has in that defense, because Lucas Van Ness is getting one-on-ones, looking real solid. Rashawn Gary's getting one-on-ones. You can line up Parsons everywhere. The offense has to constantly think about where's Parsons going to line up, where do we have to put our double teams at. And yeah, I have a hard time seeing Cleveland score in this one. I think this might be rather low scoring, already under money all week, but I'm currently waiting on the Tucker Kraft news. But before that, I was leaning towards the Packers here, because I just don't see how Cleveland is going to put up many points.
Yeah, other injuries to parse for Green Bay as well as injury reports come in. Obviously, they were missing 2 offensive linemen last week, the most important being the right tackle, Zach Tom. And that didn't really affect them against the Commanders, but the Browns can heat up the quarterback a little bit more than the Commanders can. So that would be one to watch. And obviously, Jaden Reed is going to miss time for the Packers for a while. You were looking at the total in this game, Austin. The number's been coming down. You in agreement with that?
Yeah, I am. I don't know if we're quite grasping the impact that Parsons had. I think what Suma said about what Lucas Van Ness and Rashawn Gary are getting, Gary got paid, but he kind of was always not really wanted to be that go-to pass rusher by himself. Van Ness is still a young player. You throw Parsons in the fold where he lines up and all the things he can do, and it's the sheer quickness that he's able to disrupt things and just blow everything up. So I am in agreement with the total. We're kicking off the show with a triple hammer. I'm going under 41.5 minus 110 in this one. I'm not a huge fan of Flacco, and if you want to throw in Gabriel or anything like that, I'll take any of that against this Packers front. I think we are late to catch up. They want to throw the ball a ton too, which is kind of wild to me. It's been an interesting. I think Flacco's had 40 pass attempts in both games, so I will gladly take this Packers pass rush going against a washed up Flacco who can move the ball a little bit, but I don't think they're ready for what this is, what's coming at them with this Green Bay front.
Yeah, I completely misread this game on Sunday night when I was talking about it with Clive. My numbers, I lean directionally to the over in this game. I don't really know that I'm going to do anything when all is said and done, like anything here. But Green Bay is looking to create explosives. Like if you look at the way that they're playing on offense, they are targeting down the field. Matt LaFleur is using a lot of motion to get Jordan Love some one-on-one shots and things of that nature. That would be my concern with the Browns because in the past they have given up explosives. I think if the game state gets out of hand here and Cleveland has to throw more, then you could have Flacco like really killing you with some turnovers as well potentially. But I don't have as much conviction as you do, obviously, with you starting off with the triple hammer on the under there. So I'm not gonna root against you on this one. Moving to the next game, we're in the AFC South. It is the Jags hosting the Texans. Last time we saw the Texans, it was pretty ugly, and the same thing with the Jags. You look at the game against the Bengals. And a lot of people just struggling to figure out what this Jacksonville Jaguars football team is right now. But an hour before we came to air, there was some Houston money. Looks like Christian Kirk is going to be returning for them. I could see Suma's face already, like he was interested in some capacity in Houston as the market's settled right now. Jacksonville small favorites, -1.5, -1 in some spots. Suma, did I read that correctly? You had some interest in the Texans?
Yeah, it was one of my hammer plays, but unfortunately got cooked like an hour ago. I still kind of lean towards Houston, even though the value got sucked out today. With the Jaguars, I still have some concerns about the Brian Thomas injury, about Travis Hunter not.
Wait!
Like...
I'm going to cut you off, Suma. The Brian Thomas injury. I mean that's got to be made up. I think he just dropped so many balls that they're like, we can't publicly out this guy.
I mean, he did not want to take a hit that was like 2 or 3 yards away. So
true.
Maybe you are right. Something is off. Whether it's the injury or I don't know. Travis Hunter not playing up to the second overall pick level yet. So I think that they're really surprising me with their run game because I thought the O-line was bad going into the year. So they are looking much better on the ground, even sometimes in pass protection. But I still have some concerns about their dropback game. And this Texans defense is lethal, facing a 0-3 on the road against a divisional opponent. I think we will probably get their A+ game from Houston this week, even though this sounds like a big narrative. But I think this pass rush will get to Lawrence, and I think that this might be the game where the Houston Texans defense really dominates. And also leading kind of to a low-scoring affair. And yeah, I'm not a CJ Stroud guy. I think he might just be bad, but I'm also not sold on this Jaguars defense.
Yeah, I would like. I think this game's going to tell us a lot about the Texans' offense as a whole now with Christian Kirk back there. I believe they get an O-lineman back as well, their center. It's looked like a disaster of an O-line this year. I think definitely a lot of concerning things out of the Texans on Monday Night Football. In particular, their inability to stop the run as well was something that looked like could be an issue going forwards. Personally, I do lean Jacksonville at these numbers. I don't think we're going to get to a position at any point where I'm going to have enough to be able to pull the trigger there. But I'm pretty down on Houston right now, Austin.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing to me how Houston had probably the worst offensive line in football last year by some margin. And I kind of assumed there's going to be some regression there. And, maybe they make some changes, whatever, try to new offense coordinator, maybe that fixes things. I haven't seen it through to it. They don't even. I don't even know if they have a plan on offense. Like maybe Christian Kirk helps that out, but yeah, I'm pretty low on them. And then on the other side with Jacksonville, I don't know. I don't know what Trevor Lawrence is. I was expecting big things. Maybe it'll take a little bit for the new offense with Liam Cohen to get rolling, but factor in the Brian Thomas might not be 100%. Travis Hunter's an interesting one. They're trying to use him, and then there was injuries last week, and then he had to go play deep. Like, I don't know. It's going to take a little bit, I think, to kind of get things all figured out there. Long-winded way of saying I'm getting invested early in the show here. I guess I can sleep through the rest of it here. But Houston, Jacksonville under 44.5. My double hammer. That's at minus 115. I just don't love – these offenses just don't look like they are just clicking yet. And when you have a bad offensive line on one side and then Houston's defense, I kind of am with Suma if you want to get narrative. I think it's going to be a big game for the Texans there. So, yeah, going under, I don't trust really either of these offenses right at this point.
Maybe considered a big step up in class going from the Panthers defense and Bengals defense to the Texans defense in week 3 here for
just a little
for the Jags offense. Yeah. Before we continue, FanDuel is making week 3 even bigger this week with a chance to win a share of $2 million in bonus bets this Thursday night. Tonight, $2 million. Here's how it works. You opt in, you place an anytime touchdown bet on Bills against Dolphins using your profit boost. And if the player you pick scores either the first or the last touchdown of the game, you'll earn a share of $2 million in bonus bets, $1 million for each touchdown. I'll get the guys' picks coming up here in just 1 second for potential anytime touchdown scores tonight. But it's just one more reason that you should bet on the NFL with FanDuel. Whether you got a feeling about that opening drive or you're banking on a clutch finish, now's the time to get in the game. Visit FanDuel.com/forwardprogress to download the app today and get started. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. You must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas, in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, 19 plus and physically located in Ontario, or 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. Opt-ins required. Must apply profit boost token on select market. Prize pool to be split equally amongst all eligible participants who made the correct first or last touchdown pick. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut. mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. Or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Call Connects Ontario at 1-866-531-2600 or visit connectsontario.ca. All right, let's move into the Rams and Eagles. This is a rematch of a playoff game from last season, which was pretty solid. I would say that the Rams gave the Eagles the toughest time in the playoffs a season ago, and it's been Rams money so far in market. We are bordering on getting to a 3. FanDuel's at plus 3.5, minus 118 right now, as are many of the other books in the space. Total is at 44.5. And guys, you know what? I'm going to kick this one off for us here because I'm going to get in the run of early hammer bets. I'm going to start with a single hammer here. It's a small one. Would be larger if this total got down anymore, but at 44.5, I'm going towards the over here. And I'm interested what you guys think about these teams in general, because for me, it's very, very challenging to model the Eagles right now, who come in with like a really big prior from the beginning of the year, but had turnover at offensive coordinator. But what I do think is a significant mismatch in this game is the Rams' secondary receiver against Adoree Jackson. So whatever the Eagles want to do to try to take away Puka Nacua or Devontae Adams, there is going to be one great matchup on the field at all times. Very similar to the Cowboys when they had CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens there. And if CeeDee Lamb wasn't dropping a million balls in that game, probably had a very different story. So I do think the Rams are going to be able to move it here, as are teams that have good wide receiver combos. That's going to force the Eagles, in my opinion, to play a little bit out of the comfort zone that they've been playing in this year, which is a lot of stuff underneath. It's no secret the Eagles' offense hasn't looked great. I get that, but they still have a lot of great pieces in place, a good offensive line, good receivers. This is a step up in class, big time for the Rams defense as well. They faced the Texans offense. They faced the Titans offense. So ultimately, I just think that this is too low at this point, and I am going to go with the over in this game as my single hammer play. And you were nodding your head a lot there, Suma, like you were in agreement in some capacity.
Also taking the single hammer, but not on the over, on the Rams, for basically all the reasons that you have mentioned. I think Stafford has been playing really, really great connection with Devontae Adams, and I think McVay has like all week long to scheme up plays for his wide receivers against that cornerback 2 spot for the Eagles. Really think that the Rams are going to move the ball here, and like I said, I can't really tell what's going on with the Eagles offense. I'm just pretending that they will not fix everything within 1 week, how that offense is constructed right now. These splits are absurd. Like Hurts is holding the ball for like 3 seconds, lowest play action A dot in the league. I think his A dot on play action plays is like 1.5 yards. So pretty insane. I think that Eagles might have a big advantage in the trenches with their interior pass rush against the Rams O-line. But I'm really convinced and upgraded the Rams offense quite a bit this season. And yeah, I like the Rams here, 3.5 with some juice.
I'm just checking our Google sheet that we share before each show, and it looks like Austin. Like I set the rundown in a really bad order here because we're getting your hammer picks out of the way real soon.
Yeah, I'm going a little bit in a different direction, but a lot of the same, I guess, principles of what you guys are talking about. The Eagles with Adoree Jackson, I think that's a pretty bad matchup against this Rams offense. And the Eagles, as much as they just don't have the big playability yet. And I don't know if that's going to take a little bit with the new offensive coordinator and whatnot. Barkley's, I think, at 3.7 yards per rush. Teams aren't running cover one. Jalen Hurts was elite against cover one last year. EPA per dropback success rate, whatever you wanted to look at. They are not, like, he literally per PFF charting has not faced a cover one defense through 2 weeks. So I don't want to say it's like a little bit of, hey, maybe we found the key here, but that makes me think the Rams are going to have a good chance here to keep this close, and I'll take the 3.5. It's -118. It's a little pricey, but I still like it at 3 if you have a more even number, -110 or somewhere down there. So I don't like the Eagles having to win by margin either. If they don't have this explosiveness, Barkley tore up the Rams last year. Hopefully that doesn't happen. But with that cornerback 2 problem, back door is going to be open. Just gotta, and maybe we have a tush push, false start call. Maybe that'll benefit me too.
I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
I'm hoping there are enough.
In fact, this show might get removed from YouTube for you even suggesting that could happen.
But yeah, that's my single hammer, and the rundown. I'm just firing away here to start off the show here. But 3.5 -118 on the Rams.
Well, we'll move over to a game where I don't think any of us have a strong conviction, but we'll just talk about it quickly anyways. And that's the Atlanta Falcons at the Carolina Panthers. It's been one-way Falcons money. Obviously, Carolina dealing with some significant injuries on the offensive line with 2 interior linemen out for the year. FanDuel sitting at -4.5, -115 for the Falcons right now. Total in the game, 44 pretty much across the board. But at FanDuel, looks like we have a 43.5 still in market right now as well. Which would be the best price in market if anyone was looking for the over in this game. Personally, guys, my numbers are like I'm in the same boat I was last week with the Panthers, where I ended up not betting them, showed some small value on them. I'm kind of at the same point again here now. It's just so hard for me to get past like the Atlanta run offense against the Carolina run D. The Falcons have been extremely efficient on the ground. They're using a ton of 12 personnel this year, the second most in the league, 50% of the time. And the Panthers, against heavier looks, their EPA is 0.5, 31st in the league. It's a real struggle. So I'm not sure what to do with this one. I kind of feel like I would be rooting and crossing my fingers for a Panthers backdoor cover late in the game again. I don't know, Austin, I see you nodding your head a little bit. How do you feel about this one?
Yeah, similar. The Panthers, again, the second half of Bryce Young just really hasn't showed up. We saw maybe a little bit of it, but they were down 3 scores last week, so I don't know how much I want to put too much stock in that to being able to happen again. And then the rookies, 4 rookies have been killing it for the Atlanta defense, disruptive and everything. So without the offensive lineman for Carolina, it's really hard to I don't know if I love the matchup if they're going to stand back there and have to drop Bryce Young back, and if he's going to be facing pressure all day. So, yeah, I think if you're I have a slight lean towards Atlanta too, Carolina, but I don't want to be rooting for a backdoor with that pass rush as it stands right now.
Yeah, Suma, Austin brings up a good point as well. I mean, Atlanta's defense has been a pretty good unit so far to start the season as well.
Absolutely. I'm not sure whether it's real yet because they're getting too many sacks right now. So I think they might not get to the quarterback as often. But my point for just not betting the Panthers, even though I might have a small edge, is the Jaguars and Cardinals have like very iffy passing games so far. And those games, from their perspective, were basically over in the third quarter where they took several gears off and, I don't know, played very vanilla. So, yeah. And rooting for a backdoor cover, no Austin Corbett, no Robert Hunt. That offensive line is also banked up. I'm just not sure whether Panthers have the horses this time.
Yeah, I think we're kind of all in the same boat on this one. Shifting gears here, we got a battle of the backups here. Joe Burrow is out for at least 3 months. Jake Browning is in for him. For the Minnesota Vikings, J.J. McCarthy, injury. I'm going to use that in quotations because the conspiracy theorists are out there who don't even really believe it. But Carson Wentz coming in, getting a second look here. Right now, most of the market, including FanDuel, is Vikings small favorites, -3, -105. FanDuel actually has the best price in market on Vikings money line at -148. Total in the game is sitting at 42.5 here. Now, there's been a lot of talk about 2023 when Joe Burrow went down and Jake Browning came in. And a lot of people are referencing the numbers where they were like, pretty close to one another. You look on your screen right now, DVOA-wise, Browning much higher than Burrow, but he also had a much higher interception-worthy percentage as well, where he was willing to force it down the field, potentially into coverage a little bit more. But he kept the success rate going at over 51% in 9 games. Now, personally, I do think there's a significant gap between these quarterbacks, guys. I think people really downplay it a lot of times. And sometimes when that backup kind of gets the rhythm going, their numbers in the early going are great until you get more and more tape on them. With that said, I mean, Browning is a competent backup. I'm not really sure what to do with this one, Suma. Like, my gut feeling, and it's not a super big edge, was towards the over, where I don't know that you get much of a drop-off in, like, deep passing game or just, like, efficiently moving the ball through the air. Both defenses, serious question marks as well. The Bengals because of lack of personnel, the Vikings because of injuries.
Yeah, it's just weird to me that they play a completely different offense and they are still somewhat productive. Like, you posted the numbers, like condensed formations, more bootlegs, more play action, not those shotgun and Burrow will try to scan the field kind of looks.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it might work out pretty well against a banked up Vikings defense. But at the same time, I can also see a scenario where Brian Flores sends a blitz at all these bootlegs and not let them develop their play action game. So very, very tough game, no strong opinion.
Yeah, Flores versus Browning is interesting because they did match up in 2023, and Browning actually had a huge game. But you could argue that now Flores has also had a look at him as well, and that changes things. So I think choose your own narrative, Austin, in this game. We haven't really explored the Carson Wentz side of things either. But, I mean, I think people are really overplaying what Carson Wentz is at this point in his career as well.
Yeah, and then when you factor in the offensive line issues that the Vikings are going through, and J.J. McCarthy hasn't been playing well. He's played one good quarter, but a lot of these pressures are right in his face immediately, and it doesn't look like Christian Darrisaw's trending towards playing. I'm seeing a DNP showing up today for him, and it might just be another thing where he's another week away. So yeah, I'm with you. Slight lean towards the over, but I need Darrisaw. And then you got Van Ginkel. If he's in, that's a huge change for what that Vikings defense wants to do. So this is just like you have the backup quarterback thing, you have the injuries. It's kind of just one of those games you can't really do too much with so much speculation happening on the injury report.
Yeah, with Darrisaw, it sounds like they're going to try to get him to practice tomorrow and see where he's at. But to your point, there's just so many question marks, I think, at this point with that roster as a whole. A quick reminder, someone asked me via DMs last week, and I do say it on the show every week. A lot of the tidbits you see up here on screen and in our newsletter are provided by FTN. I've been using FTN for years for their data. They have a Stats Pro and a Stats Goat interface. They give you data sets that you aren't going to find on free sites. And honestly, it's a really good UI. You get to the answers pretty quickly. Been using it for a while now. If you do want to check it out and you're into data, especially when it comes to betting the NFL, you can use code HAMMER10 for 10% off. Just visit ftnfantasy.com, or you can hit the link down in the description below, ftnfantasy.com, and the code is HAMMER10. Keeping it moving, probably the most uncertainty on the board for this week would come in Las Vegas and Washington, simply because Jaden Daniels hasn't practiced. He's likely going to practice tomorrow, and then we're going to see where we're at. Obviously, the money has all come in on the Raiders this week, and that's just the uncertainty at quarterback with regards to the Commanders. As it sits right now at FanDuel, we have a flat 3.5. Totals are kind of all over the place, but centered around a key number of 44 right now. Suma, you're hawking the news on the news wire all the time as well. What's your expectation here with Daniels? Seems like the market is like really shaded towards him not playing in this game.
Yeah, I think so too. He might practice tomorrow. We don't know yet. So I think last year against the Bears, he had correct me if I'm wrong, a limited practice on Friday and ended up playing. So if there's an LP tomorrow, maybe they trot him out with a brace. But I would not expect that number to go back towards the opener, so above 6. I just don't see it. If you have a Jaden Daniels who is hurt and might be limited when it comes to running, if it's Mariota and that total stays in that range, maybe goes a little bit lower, I might be interested in the over, because I think Mariota can run that offense, and I'm not really afraid of the Raiders' pass defense. And I also think that Geno Smith game from Monday was an outlier. So I can really see these two teams slinging it. And yeah, I would like the over at some point there.
Yeah, I'm still having nightmares about a Raiders over where they went on like a 78-play drive on Monday Night Football and ended up kicking a field goal to cut the lead from 20-6 to 20-9. Some things just don't change with certain coaches, that's for sure. Anything to do here, Austin, on your end? For me, I really have not been paying attention other than just quickly trying to snap up some news info in this game. Other than that, it hasn't been on my radar.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. Like, even if Daniels plays, you have to it's speculating what percentage, because he uses his legs so much. What are we going to get a lesser version of that? And it's such a key part to his game, so that's a concern. And on the other side, the Raiders, I was on the last week. Ashton Genty getting minus 0.1 yards before contact. So that offensive line is not where you want to be, but. It
could be like his pass protection was even worse than his ability to separate. I mean, I saw some clips this week where like pass protection was a negative.
Yeah, it was. I don't know. A lot of moving parts there as well this offseason, taking a little bit, but it's been an ugly showing through. Really, ever since that Bowers injury, I don't know. Like, it's been a little, and the Patriots defense doesn't look great. I don't know about the Raiders offense so far in the early season.
You know what? I don't know either. I was kind of optimistic with Chip Kelly. And listen, maybe it's just one bad game. I think the Chargers did a good job of getting into the backfield. Geno threw off his back foot a ton in that game. It was just super inaccurate. I don't really know what to make of that altogether. This is definitely a different defense. Like the Commanders' defense, to me, you can exploit them. If you could get them into some single high looks as well and take some shots downfield, I think the Raiders have a fighting chance here. Exesh says Daniels is worth 0.75 points. I'm going to have to... I like Mariota as a backup, but I'm going to have to disagree with that assessment all around. I don't know about that one, but yeah, we'll wait and see. We'll keep it going to our next game. Wow, this is... Suma's head might explode here. Favorite team against favorite quarterback. I don't even know that he's going to be able to watch the Jets and the Bucs this week. The big news and story out of this particular game is just the amount of injuries that Tampa is facing, especially on offense, particularly the offensive line. We now have this game off of 7 pretty much across the board. I guess there's 1-7 out there, but the majority of the market is 6.5. Interestingly enough, FanDuel still juiced towards the Bucs. Like, this is more likely to go to 7 than 6. The total has come down below 44 as well across most key sports books. Suma, parse this one. The O-line, like, I'm just looking at the Bucs offense. I wish I had more details on who's going to play on the Jets defense, but right now there's so many significant injuries that this could be like a Baker legacy game if he wins this one by margin.
If he wins this by margin, I'm going to send you a lot of texts on Sunday.
No, as long as they're not sex, Suma. I don't want sex. Text only.
No, I actually like the Jets at 6.5, double hammer. Tristan Wirfs likely out. Cody Mock IR. Luke Godecki IR. Michael Jordan. He's not on the injury report because he's on the practice squad, but he was DNP. Graham Barton's playing left tackle. Charlie Heck is a bad right tackle as a backup. So, I mean, this O-line is in terrible shambles. And while the Jets' pass rush has not been great this season, I think they will be just enough because you can basically shred this O-line, I think. Jermaine Johnson likely going to be out. Michael Carter was back practicing today. Tony Adams as well. Emeka Egbuka, very interesting. He was DNP yesterday. Then today, beat reporter said he was expected to practice after the open portion to the media and ended up being a DNP. So they might be resting him. I don't know. There might be something to his hip/groin injury. Maybe he's not going to be at 100%. I expect him to play, but I think definitely something to monitor there. And Stingley was very good against Mike Evans. And if you put Sauce Gardner on Evans, I think that this Bucs offense might really struggle this week behind that O-line. Not a huge Tyrod Taylor fan, but I think the Jets might be able to run the ball a little bit. Kalijah Kenzie also on IR, and they might hopefully just stay within the 6.5.
Yeah. Did you want to lock this in, Suma?
Yes.
I don't. We're going with that. So this is going to be your single hammer play or double hammer.
Double
play?
hammer. Double hammer.
Okay, so we're going to flip those out afterwards. Okay, sounds good. Double hammer for the Jets for Suma. Austin, we didn't talk Tyrod at all with Justin Fields being out here. My view is that there is a small downgrade. I think Fields gives a higher ceiling. You have those games like we saw in week 1 where he's outstanding. I don't know that Tyrod gives you that. I also can remember pulling my hair out watching Tyrod take some bad sacks back in the day as well. I'm sure his sack to pressure numbers are like extremely high if I had to look those up. But I still feel like he's pretty competent. I mean, in terms of a backup quarterback, he's got to be amongst one of the better ones in the league.
Yeah, there's at least been like some success out there. I feel like that's kind of all you can ask for with your backup. And I don't think it's a huge difference, but I think the legs is really the biggest difference there. Is obviously Fields can break off some big ones, but I do think that Tyrod has enough like late in game. I was kind of like these big numbers and like Tampa's offense is brutal. So maybe you don't have to score that many points at the back door. I do have faith in him of like managing an offense if the defense is kind of lax there. So. I'm with you. Not a huge downgrade, but man, I'm with Suma. I lean towards the Jets just because this state of this. Now, I don't know how it works because the Jets defense has looked horrible in this Bucs offensive line just being decimated here. But it's painful, but I think that is the right side.
Yeah, I was very close to putting the Jets into my opinions here for my hammer picks for this week as well. Obviously, the market is the market now. I would have loved to capture a better number for this show, but this injury information that's come in, it's. I mean, I think the Jets are live in this. FanDuel has the best money line price on the Jets, plus 270. I think that's also a click, personally. Just so many injuries to deal with in this particular game. All right, Steelers and the Patriots is our next game up. Steelers took a little bit of money earlier in the week, and they've kind of settled in now, depending on the book, 1.5 to 2-point favorites. I think FanDuel did at one point get up to 2.5. I'm just double checking. Yeah, it's back to 1.5, 115 right now. Total in this game was also bet up quite a bit through a key number from earlier in the week, and we're sitting now at 44.5, pretty much across the board. I will lead this one off, guys, because I am going to go with a triple hammer in this game and take the New England Patriots money line at plus 110. I'm going to use the hashtag wrong team favored here. It's very dangerous to use that one. I don't really understand the love for the Steelers. I don't get it. You can give me all sorts of things about the Patriots defense. What the Patriots defense has done really well so far this year, even without Christian Gonzalez, is they're sitting pretty high in pressure rate. they're getting after the quarterback. There's been some pretty significant splits in this Steelers offense so far this year when Rodgers is pressured versus when he is not. I know Miami moved the ball against them, but Miami can generally create explosives against other teams, even when they're down O-linemen or receivers. And Pittsburgh, to me, they're going to struggle more to do that. They just don't have downfield shots. It's all yards after catch for them in particular. But it's the other side of things where the Steelers are just decimated on defense. And I feel like so much of this is just being ignored. Potentially they get a defensive lineman back. They get the rookie back this week. Who knows? But aside from that, losing Alex Highsmith is a massive blow. He started the year really well. His pressure rates are through the roof. There's, Joey Porter Jr. didn't practice again. Deshaun Elliott didn't practice again. Malik Harrison is already on IR. You're potentially looking at just under half of your starting defense from the beginning of the year that's not going to be on the field. And Drake May had the coming out party against a bad defense last week. He moved the ball fairly successfully. Granted, some of that was in third and medium and long. I'd like them to have more early down success, but I don't. I make the Patriots a favorite in this game, so very happy to take the plus 110 and make that my triple hammer. I'm not sure if you guys are in agreement, but I like the nodding as we were going through that, Austin.
Yeah, it's the defense for me with the Steelers. They were not good when they were healthy. To start the year, I did a small sample, but they also had like TJ Watt. He's getting up there in age. He's been this guy who kind of, when he makes his impact, it tends to be like always a forced fumble or something like that. When you take Highsmith's had a crazy pressure rate because the teams are picking like, hey, let's shade towards TJ Watt and Highsmith can go off. So yeah, sure, maybe they get Harmon back, but he's a rookie. You don't know what you're getting out of that. So
True.
then you take the defensive backfield that I wasn't super excited about coming into the year anyway, and add some injuries there. So I'm with you. I'm a slight lean. This was one of my backup plays if one of my plays got stolen, but I had my bets the first 3 games. So my hammers are settled. But yeah, I'm with you. I think New England should be shaded here. And it could be a little bit of an over if this number comes down a little bit more. I could be talked into that as well.
Yeah, me and Clive were talking about that on Sunday night. I think that was one of the early looks, was the over in this game. And I honestly still show an edge on the over, even though it's been bet through 44. That's how much room I thought there was. But now I think it's like borderline. I don't know what your thoughts are, Suma.
Yeah, slightly towards the over. Same thoughts as you, defense for the Steelers, major issue. But I'm also not sold on the Pats defense. They're getting healthier. Kean White probably back. Gonzalez, not sure whether he's going to play after, I think it was his first practice this summer, yesterday.
And it was like he was barely working in that practice. Like there was not much going on.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to end up play. But I'm a big Drake May fan. I think he's a stud. That O-line has been solid. Yes, the Dolphins defense is not serious, but I think that O-line is kind of okay. I think May's a stud. Offense might get like more into rhythm as the weeks go on. And on the other side, that middle of the field for the Pats defense is like really, really bad. Their linebacking group is horrific. And if there's one thing Arthur Smith has done well so far, it's like play action shots over the middle of the field, trying to get Warren involved. I think Warren against these linebackers is a major mismatch. So I can see both teams scoring. I still kind of like the over 44.5.
So AJ Thomas says Miami isn't a real team, and he's referring to New England beating Miami last week. And I agree, but like in context, Pittsburgh played a coin flip against the Jets. They allowed the Jets offense to completely go off before last week, where they did nothing against the Bills, even when Justin Fields was in the game. And then Darnold had a great game. Like the Seahawks went on the road as underdogs without their top corner. And in my opinion, the box score was kind of even misleading. Seattle dominated that game. So I'm just very, very down on the Steelers right now. And the injury report is not gonna change my opinion on that. Speaking of teams that people are down on, Tennessee Titans, 3-16 against the spread, according to Suma's record checking this morning. He's gone back, and Brian Callahan's last 19 games, 3-16 against the spread. They are 4-point underdogs at home. It's been only Indy money so far. Actually, at FanDuel, we do have 4.5 minus 104 as it stands, and the total in the game is 43.5. There are a lot of trends out there that are floating around. I watch other content, I see it. I don't put a ton of stock into it, but there are trends of like betting on these 0-2 teams in the third week of the season, particularly if it gets stronger and stronger if they're facing an undefeated team, essentially. And the whole like thought process is back is against the wall, they're undervalued by market type of situation. I can't get there with the Titans. Like, the offense has been at a historically bad level through 2 games. Maybe I don't believe in Indy. Maybe Indy's play 2 home games, guys, and like this is their first trip on the road. It's a tougher test, but I literally cannot click the Titans at these prices, and that I'm just kind of pretty neutral, Suma, on this one.
Yeah, neutral could not bet the Titans. I mean, this Colts offense, I think they gave us some signal against a good, at least on paper, a good Broncos defense. And I mean, going into the season, we thought like, okay, Daniel Jones likely going to be an upgrade over Anthony Richardson. They have a great environment. Steichen is very good. O-line might be solid. Receiving group, they are really like four or five guys deep. Maybe Taylor Warren is a start right out of the gate. And I think everything around Daniel Jones is like really, really good this year. And if he really has that, I don't know, one extra gear, this might very well be an above average offense, maybe more. So I think there was some signal over the first 2 weeks, even though I don't think that Daniel Jones is going to end up with a 57% success rate until week 17. But I think this might still be a sneakily good offense, and I don't want to bet against that this week.
Yeah, I see pretty mixed opinions on this in the chat. What are your thoughts, Austin?
Yeah, this is one of those ones from a numbers perspective that's really hard because you have the Colts who are just Daniel Jones killing it, and it's just been the turnovers haven't been there. The old Daniel Jones has not been there at all, and it's this kind of balance of like, hey, this is a new situation. Could he be just a totally new guy in this system? We've seen this kind of happen with some guys like Sam Darnold last year. Like I think he was a little bit overrated, but he still was much better than what we had seen prior. So my numbers are hard. Like I have a slight lean towards the Titans. I have a slight lean towards the under, and my head's just like, if I'm wrong on the Colts, then that makes sense. Or that's why I'm shading that way. So more of a wait and see game. But yeah, tennis. It's another thing where like if I had any faith in the Titans offense, I could be like, hey, getting 4.5, getting 4, whatever. We can move the ball, maybe get a back door because laying, more than a field goal on the road in the NFL is tough. But man, it's been a 3-16 number. I think there's some signal there with who's leading the team and what this team can do week in and week out.
I think of note, Laiatu Leitu on the Colts defensive line, I think got cleared today. Like he's going to be returning this week as well. So that's not music to the Titans' ears, considering they've had offensive line problems and can't get the offense going either. So for me, that's probably enough at this point to say I don't want it. And AJ, it's a great zero firepower to cover a backdoor. Like that's how I feel about them. It just seems like a completely dead offense. Do appreciate so far everyone that is in the chat. We know the Hammer audience is truly like a family. There's lots of familiar faces in there every week, inside jokes. And of course, at this network, we also have the one guy that we like to pick on in Jason Cooper as well, which comes up every single week. But here's your chance to continue the conversation. We launched a Discord this week. Over 600 members in the early going. We're all discussing games in there, sharing our favorite bets. You can interact with your favorite Hammer creators. Honestly, it's pretty happening right now. I'm very thankful to everyone who's joined in the early going. And if you haven't so far, you can check it out. discord.gg/hammer to join now. Please check it out. I mean, I didn't think I would be in there as often as I am, and it's a pretty humming community. Drew confirms it. Drew Furstenberger, I believe that's Suma's cousin. The Discord is hot, is what he said. Appreciate that. Ekshesh, please do not join the Discord, but please do not post as much as you post in here. That would be very much discouraged. Keeping it moving. Saints and Seahawks. A lot of people have their eye on this game from a Survivor perspective, as they look to be the most commonly owned team in Survivor this week. We'll see when those projections officially come out. But Seattle, pretty prohibitive favorite at home in this one, laying 7.5 total in the game. Pretty low one relative to other ones on the board. 41.5 juiced under at FanDuel right now. Both these teams, to me, kind of a little bit different than what I thought they would be coming into the year. I was a little bit more impressed with Seattle's offense last week than in week one, Suma. But it does seem like potentially a little bit too high, this number. I'm having like that inner struggle of do I want to go there with the Saints this week? Like, I have better things to do in life is basically what I'm telling myself.
Yeah, basically just a wait and see game. See how Spencer Rattler does against a very good defense on the road. Because I was actually impressed, not to the point where I think Rattler is going to be a top 15 quarterback, but I think he looks like night and day from last season. Maybe Kellen Moore is really that kind of QB whisperer. I don't know, because the Eagles' offense also taking maybe a major step back. So I just want to see how the Saints offense and Spencer Rattler do against what I believe is a strong Seahawks defense.
And I agree with the exact same thing. Like, Mike McDonald against Spencer Rattler seems like a pretty big mismatch to me. Obviously not the full complement of personnel in the secondary for Seattle, but these are the types of games that scare me when you have a young, inexperienced quarterback that is prone to mistakes against a very sound defensive mind, Austin.
Yeah, that's the concern. Going into a tough environment to play, and what are you going to get out of Rattler? And when we're only 2 games in, he's looked much better. I think you can assume that he is probably not, like, the priors on him were probably too low, but it's one of, in this situation, I could see a reversion back towards a little bit more towards what we saw last year. So I 7.5 sounds. It's staring me right in the face, and I'm interested, but I'll hold off a little bit, because I'm in no rush. Let's put it that way to back Spencer Rattler on the road against the Seattle defense.
Yeah, there's a comment in the chat here, Suma. I'm not sure if either of you is Fuaga going to play. I thought Fuaga played last week at right tackle. I thought he returned for them. If it hasn't been on my radar, if he's going to miss, but I would agree. Saints missing O lineman against the Seattle front might be a complete disaster if that's the case.
Yeah, that Seahawks front is very lethal, and if they're getting healthier on the back end, I mean, some people predicted this defense to be like a top 5 unit, and right now they are playing like that, I would say.
Yep, would agree.
Yeah, Fuaga with a back-to-back DNP.
Okay, so I saw the DNP yesterday, but I figured it was just like more of because he played last week, that it was more of a rest. So good shout out there in the chat by Connor. Appreciate that. Moving on, one of the games I'm looking forward to the most is the Broncos at the Chargers. Chargers do look like the real deal. So far, so good for them. Denver obviously up and down. One of the games of potentially the year last week when we look back on this season against the Indianapolis Colts. All those early Denver threes in market seem to have been snatched up. You do have to pay a pretty expensive price to back Denver at 3. Nowadays, I think the best price I can see is minus 122 on the board. Total in the game sitting around 45.5. Suma, I'll throw to you here first between the Broncos and the Chargers. Obviously, the threes are gone, and I don't want to harp too much on the past. Personally, would have loved to be able to give a 3 out on the show here. I think the Khalil Mack injury is pretty big for the Chargers up front on defense. Still like the way that they're playing D overall, but I struggle to see how they're going to get to the quarterback in this game.
Yeah, Khalil Mack, Denzel Perryman already on IR, solid run defender. And Broncos offense, yes, I think Bo Nix is not great, but I think that this is the game where they might finally get something going on the ground. Pass protection has been good again, and I think that this Chargers defense is getting really, really light up front. But I'm really interested about the other side too, because the Chargers cannot run the ball like at all. They are having I noted this, a stuffed run rate of 35%.
Yeah.
And they're getting the first hit at or behind the line of scrimmage on 68% of their plays. 25 teams are below 50%. So they cannot run the ball. I guess some self-scouting, that's why their pass rate is like super absurdly high. But this week they will play a Denver defense that can defend the pass. And I'm not sure that the Chargers will have that. It sucks to say, but that Daniel Jones performance from like last week. So where you have a offense, they cannot run the ball. Denver's defense can likely play the pass more. McConkey in the slot. Keenan Allen is playing more outside. So likely Jacon McMillan on McConkey. That might be a great mismatch in favor of the Chargers. I just want to see how the Chargers play against a good pass defense. When that said pass defense know what's coming. So just want to see how this turns out. At 3, yes, Denver for sure, but I'm not sure we will get there back.
Austin Adahef says in the chat, can Denver actually defend the pass, though? I was thinking the same thing. So I don't know how much of last week was just like an aberration. Patrick Surtain got injured, came back mid-game, didn't look like himself. Riley Moss got targeted a bunch and gave up some completions in that game as well. Suma mentioned the rushing for the Chargers, but their pass rate over expected is so much higher than everyone else's in the league right now. It almost seems like they can be content to drop Herbert back, and the O-line has been holding up. I still think the Chargers offense, like to me, I'll get to something here in a second, but I feel like you can kind of buy low on them because the second half of Chargers Raiders played so agonizingly slow. There was 2 drives that took up like almost a quarter and a half to start the second half. It was nuts. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think that was just kind of like a game state type of thing. I'm curious what your thoughts are here, Chargers Broncos.
Yeah, I thought the Chargers offense was going to be in trouble when the Slater injury happened in the preseason, and then they came out through 2 games and they're throwing the ball to the field. I'm like, hey, all right, Jim Harbaugh's like, hey, we don't need to run the ball a ton. And now we're seeing like, hey, they figured out in camp we're not going to be a great running team without Slater on the offensive line. So yeah, I think that helps and there might be a little bit of overreaction to a low scoring game in which the game script kind of just got out of whack a little bit. So yeah, when you're passing that much, just so many opportunities. And then on the flip side, with that defense, they don't have the talent and the depth to really have. I don't have a lot of faith without Mac there. I think Minter is a really good defensive coordinator, and I think he's going to scheme it up to where, and he's kind of always done this, even in his days back in Michigan. He makes you drive the whole field. They try not to give up explosives. So I could see that, like, that's what Bo Nix kind of wants to do a little bit. So maybe, you get some efficient moves and you see what the red zone play comes down to there. So yeah, I can see a game where we're seeing a lot of throws and this clock isn't moving as much as we thought it would.
All right, I'm going to complete my hammer picks for this week with double hammer here on the over 45.5 at -110. I know Flup gave this out as a single hammer on the Tuesday show, so I wanted to one-up him and just take it as the double hammer instead of the single. But I do like it, honestly. I think, again, the defensive injury to Khalil Mack, also without Denzel Perryman in the front 7 as well. Great tackler in space, has been for a long time. I think there's opportunity for both teams offensively here. I love that the Chargers are passing as much as they do. Obviously, a lot of passing is going to contribute to the over. I also think that you'll see Denver take some deep shots in this game. The explosive play rate has been down this year to start the season for the Broncos, but I think that they're going to be able to keep Bo Nix upright. And not that he's necessarily going to make every throw, but we have seen this towards the end of last year. And even last week against the Colts in a game where he was off, but the offense still ended up putting up a bunch of points. So I'm going with the over, and you guys can mock me for aligning with Flup, but he does have the best haircut of anyone at the Hammer Betting Network. So got to go with that. Before we move along here into our next game, E-Colt says, why is there only 60 likes? I couldn't imagine. I mean, we have so many more people watching. 60 likes, smash the like button down below. Help YouTube, help grow us in the YouTube algorithm as well. They always value that type of stuff. Keeping it moving, last one in the early slate here, Dallas, Chicago. This is flipped now to the Cowboys being a favorite. There was a release in market early in the week on the Chicago Bears. Personally, I didn't understand that one, and now we've seen the market go back the other way. Dallas a small favorite on the road, roughly minus 116 money line. Total has been bet up to 50.5 in most spots, and it's even hit 51 in one spot. I'll start with you here, Suma. Obviously, both of these defenses are a complete disaster, but I feel like we can trust Dallas's offense a lot more than Chicago's offense right now.
Yes, absolutely. I thought Caleb played okay last week. I think that this offense will be better going forward. I think they have major issues with their run game. There's this stat floating around where they are like top 5 in rush yards before first contact, but they rank like 31st in rushing success rate. I think the major issue with DeAndre Swift is that they want to be a zone 1 team, and he just has not the vision to hit all these holes. So I think that their run game will likely continue to struggle with the same personnel, but I would expect their passing game to be continually better. But I'm not sure they can outscore the Cowboys here because, yes, the Cowboys defense is bad, but I think the Bears defense is bad. That secondary, no Jalen Johnson, no Kyler Gordon, no TJ Edwards, Tremaine Edmonds cannot cover. So Tyreek Stevenson gets like picked since the start of last season. So he's now the cornerback 1. This is a very, very bad secondary. And another big issue is that Dennis Allen wants to play man coverage. I think he played 45% cover 1 so far this season with that cornerback group. So I just don't think that he has the personnel for the kind of defense he wants to run. And that's really where the Cowboys can attack that defense with George Pickens, CeeDee Lamb. Dak Prescott has been playing really, really good. He's ripping it over the middle of the field.
Yep.
Just where the Bears defense is very vulnerable. And he did it against 2 pass rushes that I would consider better, even without Jalen Carter, than what the Bears have right now. So I'm just not seeing how the Bears outscore the Cowboys here. When I submitted this pick, I think the moneyline price was much better.
Yes.
But I'm still going with the Cowboys here, triple hammer.
Triple hammer Cowboys for Suma, currently minus 116 at FanDuel. Austin, I agree with Suma on this one. I think, yes, probably some of the line value has been sucked out at this point. But ultimately, the Bears offense to me, I mean, until Caleb shows me that he can do it, to me, he can't do it. And I understand this is going to be a downgrade in defense for him. But, I mean, if we're just looking at the first few games this year, his EPA per dropback is worse than it was a season ago. DVOA worse, success rate worse. And he's had more time to throw. I mean, he's 2.97 seconds to throw relative to 2.7 last year. So I believe in Ben Johnson. I just don't believe in the quarterback for this team. And personally, I'm in agreement with Suma on Dallas. I'm not sure what your thoughts are, Austin.
Yeah, this is like I don't like either team right now. More so Dallas because I think the offense is more of a sure thing. But I think both defenses are like horrific. The Bears have a ton of injuries. The Cowboys just let Russell Wilson like turn back the clock 10 years. And I know like everybody's like, oh, well, Caleb Williams won't be able to complete the deep pass. Like, well, Russell Wilson couldn't. Like, I know he's been better on the deep pass through, but like he hasn't been to that level. He was absolutely torching them. So maybe Diggs gets healthier and that helps things, but I don't know. Like, it's not where I want to be with this game. So like, it's one of those where I think whatever the dog was probably the better side to be on. Yep. But yeah, this is kind of a coin flip for me. I think both defenses are too bad for me to like have strong conviction either way. But yeah, it's probably going to come down to quarterback play, and Dak is the the safer option there because Caleb is still. I've seen a lot of film people though who are higher on Caleb, so that'll be interesting to see in the next coming weeks.
Yeah, I would say maybe unsubscribe to those accounts would be my thoughts on that. Although, you know what, I've been wrong many times before. Who am I to say? Before we move forward, for those that don't know, I co-own a company in the space called BetStamp as well. And BetStamp has an odds screen that is built for professionals and trusted by pros to win at scale. And we have a deal going on with them right now where you can unlock the standalone main market screen without having to buy the full props package as well. So if you're serious about winning in today's betting market, you need tools that help give you an edge. And the BetStamp main market screen delivers professional grade access for just $99 a month when billed annually. It's built for speed, precision. You can track 150 plus sports books on there. It's powered by BetStamp's industry-leading True Line, which shows you the real number so you can move first and you can move confidently. And because you're listening to Forward Progress here on the Hammer, you're not getting the standard 7-day trial. You unlock a full 14-day free trial to put it to the test. That's 2 weeks of NFL or college football, MLB, all of it and more. Don't wait. Scan the QR code on screen or click the link in the description to claim it today. I literally have it open on my computer 24/7, and I helped build it, provide feedback. So I am very, very happy and proud of the tool that was put together by BetStamp. Before we came on air today, Suma sent me a video of Brock Purdy throwing some balls in practice. Looked okay. Didn't expect that it was a possibility that he would even be throwing at this point. When looking at that game, it's just been one-way action towards San Fran all week. Sitting at FanDuel like -2.5, -125 right now. Bet back down to -115, I guess. But really bordering on getting to a 3. Totals also just shot up to 45.5. And Suma, this is predominantly Arizona's cornerback room at this point, right?
I will say it sounded much better than we thought Sunday night.
Yeah.
Will Johnson, I don't think there's any practice report yet of today, but it sounded like Will Johnson might have an actual chance of playing this week. So we'll monitor that, but still there's like zero depth. And if he's the only guy back there, the value is gone. I agree with the moves, obviously. I think San Fran will roll against the secondary. But yeah, I don't think I have any more smart stuff to add here.
Yeah, Austin?
Yeah, same thing. It was the Purdy news kind of threw a little bit of a I was kind of eyeing the over without it, and then that got blown up. So yeah, he's better than Mac Jones. So if he's healthy, we'll see if they're forcing him back. That'd be kind of weird because I thought Mac Jones was okay. So
yeah, I don't know. The 49ers are always playing games. Like, you never really know what's going to happen with them. I am somewhat concerned about like them being reliant on third downs right now as an offense. The 49ers, I noticed that especially in betting them as my triple hammer last week against the Saints, where they struggled on early downs, but Mac Jones was able to find a way. I will say this, something to watch with Arizona going forwards is it doesn't feel like they have the running game that they had a year ago. And when you look at the way Robert Saleh's defense has played so far this year, it's all light boxes. Like, we're talking almost 96% light boxes. So I think there's Arizona, like, there's a path for them to get pretty heavy, run the ball on San Fran as much as possible, and try to keep the offense off the screen, off the field, But I don't know. We just haven't seen it. We have not seen that offense clicking so far this year, in my opinion. So for me, this is tough. Market's kind of settled exactly where I think the game should be. More interested to see what the takeaways are from this game and how it ends up playing out, and also just monitoring Brock Purdy's status for the remainder of the week, especially tomorrow on the Friday report. Sunday Night Football, we have the Kansas City Chiefs and the New York Giants. The 0-2 Chiefs obviously was a possibility going into the year. Definitely didn't expect it to be the case as we are here right now. But let me just pull up the odds really quickly as I accidentally clicked out of here. Kansas City looks like they're laying still 6 across the board in most spots. FanDuel's -5.5, -120. Total in the game, taking some over money as well, up to 44.5. Jalen Royals looks like he's going to play this week. I think he was cleared today. And that's going to be like a little bit of a help for them in the wide receiving core going forwards. Just not really sure what to make of this offense right now, Austin. It hasn't looked the greatest, but they still have Patrick Mahomes. They're going to get weapons back. And then this Giants defense through 2 games, I mean, they've just really struggled to get off the field altogether.
Yeah, the Giants defense has been pretty disappointing. Definitely the defensive line. I had some high hopes for it. So that's been one of the – if there was one bright spot to the Giants going into the year, it was that. Though Russell Wilson's leading the NFL in passing, so they surprised there. But, yeah, the Chiefs – I'm not overreacting yet. If Kelsey catches that ball, like how different is the narrative around them a little bit? Like, oh, hey, they beat a good Eagles team. So I'm not gonna. They have their offensive problems. They have their wide receivers are not good. Thornton can get open deep, and Mahomes, of course, hits the tougher throw than the one he blew on the wide open one. But I just, I don't think Kelsey's the guy that he was. He's 36. He can't be just the only guy. They desperately need Worthy back healthy. How healthy will he be? Can he re-aggravate that injury? That remains to be seen there. So I have a little bit of a lean towards the under. I'm kind of opposite of what the market moves have been here. But I don't believe in this Giants offense. Again, I was down on the Cowboys defense we were talking about a few games ago, and I think the Chiefs defense is going to be able to shut them down. So I lean towards the under. I do not ever in any circumstance want to be backing the Chiefs with this receiving core laying margin on the road. No, thank you. So a little bit towards the under, but nothing on the side.
Yeah, my biggest concern with the under would be that I just don't see how either team is going to run the ball effectively in this game. And I think that both could give up on it potentially early. Kansas City's had a pretty stout run defense for years now. And, the KC defense is much better than the Dallas defense. But for the first time in a while, we did see the Giants consistently taking shots. And I do think that there's potential for that to carry over from a week-to-week basis. On the other side, KC, they just can't get it going on the ground either. And, if they do get Xavier Worthy back in the lineup as well, it's going to be two receivers they didn't have a week ago. I could see them being a little bit more effective, and they have some more yards after the catch targets, which is, I think, important for that offense as well. So this one's tough for me. I'm pretty close to on market here. I guess I'm slightly shaded towards the Giants, but I haven't been able to bet that, and I've been really monitoring the Chiefs' injuries, Suba.
Yeah, I think they need Rashee Rice back. So last season we were talking about how the Chiefs are success rating other teams to death. They were not getting a lot of explosives, but they were really efficient, and that's still not there right now. So success rate is like middle of the pack or something, and it's getting carried by Patrick Mahomes scrambles. So I think they desperately need some guys back at wide receiver for this machine to run again. So yeah, I'm slightly leaning toward the Giants, but I'm not sure I could bet them. I mean, yeah.
The defense has been disappointing. They forced 3-and-outs just 21% of drives this season as well. I'd like to see they have some good players in the front seven. Well, let's say on the D line, because the linebacking core is in complete shambles for them right now as well. But I think overall, tough for me to get a gauge on either of those teams personally. I doubt I'll have anything for Sunday Night Football. For Monday Night Football, we got what is shaping up to be a pretty solid matchup on paper. We have the Ravens hosting the Lions. The Lions looked a lot like their old selves last week. Way more motion, creativity, generated tons of explosive plays, albeit it was against the Bears team that had corners dropping like flies, players dropping like flies on defense. Regardless, this did open 6. It's been one-way money towards the Lions. It's still 5.5 at FanDuel, but some other books have gone to 4.5 in this game. And the total in the game also got bet up from 51.5 up to 52.5, which doesn't surprise me. Full disclosure, I think if I could have grabbed a 4.5, I maybe would have considered this for a single hammer play on the Ravens this week. I don't know if you guys are with me or not, but I kind of feel like we've now overcorrected to the other side for the Lions. It's like coming off of week 1, it was like, oh, maybe the Lions stink this year. And now it's, all right, the Lions are back. And really, I think it's probably somewhere in between. But this is a big step up in class for them. I just don't see how that defense is going to disrupt Lamar. I mean, you look at what the numbers are for the Ravens so far this year. First EPA per play, first yards per play, explosive runs at creating them very often. The Lions offense looks better off that performance against the Bears, but a reminder that, they stunk against the Green Bay Packers. So I think this number is a little bit short. I think there's just Ravens move the ball extremely effectively against the Bills. They didn't against the Browns. I'm willing to give them somewhat of a pass for that because Jim Schwartz has seemed to have Lamar Jackson's number for a little bit of time now, as he's had with a few of the quarterbacks in the division. But personally, I think this has gone a little bit too far now. So it's Ravens or nothing for me. but I'm just kind of watching this one right now, Suma.
Yeah, I'm right on market around 4.5. I just think that the Ravens defense, they have some injuries, and I'm just not sure. While I'm very high on the Ravens offense, obviously, I'm just not sure whether they can really win by margin against this Lions offense with those injuries. So somewhat concerned there, but anyway, I'm right on market.
Yep. Austin?
Yeah, so my numbers shade a little bit towards, the Detroit here, but it's you're in dead zone. I'm not really running to back this number here at the 6. Yeah, sure, that would have been great early in the week, but I have concerns that I'm not taking too much away from last week. Like the Ravens had a weird game. I'm not like down on them at all, and I know they had like 240 yards of offense, but I think the offense was mostly fine. And from Detroit, I know they look so out of sorts against the Packers. And again, we were just talking about how bad the Bears defense was. I don't know if I had to shade one way, like maybe we're still a considerable downgrade from last year. So a little bit cautious of my number leading towards Detroit here.
All right. Brian D says Lions are much better than people thought. I mean, we'll wait and see. Where were they in NFC futures going into the year? Like they were pretty high up there. I still think that they were very much considered a good team by the market, but
I think second after Eagles, correct?
Yeah, I think
right.
so. Unless the Packers, I don't think the Packers passed them, or it would have been when they traded.
I think Detroit was still favored going into the year in that division. Update on Kraft: his injury is only a tweak. FYI, can still play Sunday, so we'll see about that. That was the first game we talked about today. Let's close here with the Thursday night football game. I did ask you guys off the top when I did the FanDuel ad read for tonight. Obviously, the $2 million in bonus bets available if you catch the first touchdown score or the last touchdown score and you play them in the anytime market. Any thoughts for you guys tonight? Really quickly off the top of your head, Austin, someone you think might score a touchdown in tonight's game?
I really wanted to go Buffalo defense, but the price is awful. I'm not feeling that, but I'll go. I want to go further down the board. I'm going to go Dawson Knox plus 500. I think it feels like a Dawson Knox game. I don't know.
Okay, Suma.
Going with Jalen Waddle sounds like he's good to go, and yeah, Buffalo might be vulnerable over the middle of the field, and that's where Tua wants to throw, and I can see Waddle having some success there.
All right, so plus 500 Dawson Knox, by the way, Austin, that's the best price in market. 250 is pretty good on Jalen Waddle. I'm going to get nuts, like real nuts here, and I'm going to go 22-1 on Tua to score a touchdown. I like these divisional games, especially. I think quarterbacks like to lay it out on the line a little bit more in these types of situations. Won't have many opportunities, but 22-1 is a price that I can get behind. So those are 3 touchdown scores for tonight. Did either of you guys do anything with this game? Personally, I didn't. I know the market bet this out towards the over. I was very conflicted, and I mean, I do have a pretty strong lean to Miami in this game, where it's kind of borderline, but I didn't end up going with anything here, guys.
I have a question.
Yep.
If Buffalo steamrolls them, is Mike McDaniel going to have a job next week?
No, I think if they get smoked, I think McDaniel might get fired, especially since it's a Thursday game. They'll have enough of a week to get things in order there. So it could be his last game if they look incompetent.
Yeah, I would hire him if I was another team.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, OC. I mean, yeah. Some of these teams could really use an OC.
Yeah, like Houston, make the call. But I'm lean towards Miami, slightly lean towards the under, I guess, now with this total moving up. But I want nothing. Like there's such a blowout factor here that I don't want anything to do with this number under 14, really.
Oh, of course there is. I think like the Oliver and Milano injuries in the middle of that defense kind of push. I don't think highly of the Bills defense at all. I really don't. And I think if you could play teams that can create some explosives and get guys into space, it could be real problems for them. I actually did use some Buffalo and Survivor, not a lot tonight. I'll be interested to see if I'm actually going to end up even rooting for them or not with the ownership percentages. But I have like a weird feeling, weird vibe about this. Fast forward 10 hours from
Are
now.
you calling out the money line here? Like,
42 to 10. I have
that the weird
I don't know.
vibe?
I have a weird vibe that the Dolphins are live in this game. Could be completely out to lunch, as I am probably about 47% of the time. Bills Dolphins tonight. We're live 8 p.m. Eastern time here on Forward Progress for a live watch along. That's with G-Stack George, Alex Moretto, takes by Jason Cooper. They're really fun. If you haven't seen one of these before, I would suggest you check it out. It's real-time reactions, live betting, prop sweats. Hitman comes on in the fourth quarter and loses all of his bets every single week. I don't know how that guy's a professional bettor. It's great to watch. But set a reminder, join us 8 p.m. Eastern time on the Forward Progress channel right here tonight. Quick review of this week. Just to recap off the top, you haven't heard an Austin Hammer pick in probably about an hour now since he got him out of the way real early here. But for our triple hammers across the board, Austin's taking Green Bay, Cleveland under. Suma's locking in Dallas on the money line, and I am going with New England on the money line. For our double hammers, I am taking Denver and the Chargers over 45.5. Suma has gone with the Jets, 6.5, minus 105. Austin, Houston, Jacksonville under as well. 2 unders in the new age NFL. Oof, that's not going to be a fun way to spend the weekend, I'll tell you that. Single hammer, Austin on the Rams, Suma on the Rams, and myself on the Rams and Eagles over 44.5. So that's going to be it for us this week. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for hanging with us today, especially those in the chat. Big thanks to my co-hosts, Austin and Suma, to our producer, Barbara Alberts, for keeping the show tight behind the scenes. We're back tonight, Thursday Night Football, Saturday morning for props with Hitman. I know I slandered his name. He's actually a really good props bettor. You should probably watch that show. And I'll see you Sunday morning for the pizza buffet, coming off of a fantastic week last week. If you enjoyed the show, please hit like and subscribe on your way out. Peace out, everyone. Good luck with your bets this week.